Duggan's getting his contract restructured. It's being switched to a Legends deal, which isn't going to provide for a weekly downside, but can work on a per show basis. It enables him to take indie bookings and book his own appearance without clearing it with the office, which the full time wrestlers aren't allowed to do. What in the world was Jim Duggan doing with the company here in 2008?
I have no idea. Jim was just coming in and doing, things and doing Legends appearances and things of that nature. This was kind of around the time that the Legends were starting to do Legends deals and get guys under contract to be able to do appearances and things of that nature.
What's interesting is to take a look at the ratings in this era and just what was registering with fans and what wasn't. And as much as we, as the hardcores listening to this, want to look back and say, I don't know about that money idea. Vince's announcement about the draft and the money gains 803,000 viewers. It's ridiculous. And sometimes even a great match like Chris Jericho versus Shawn Michaels loses 15,000 viewers. I know that, for a long time, wrestling fans and people in and around the industry, they've been obsessed with ratings, but sometimes there's no rhyme or reason. Like Shawn Michaels in a match on TV loses 15,000. That's hard for me to wrap my head around.
Well, I think that this is the long-standing myth that wrestling matches get ratings. Stories get ratings.
That's right.
And if you have a really good story around a really good match, then that's going to get a rating. I don't subscribe to the, oh my God, if you put this dream match on, that it's going to get a rating. Unless it has a story and it's interesting characters that are involved in the story and you're invested in the story, you're not really it's not going to mean that much, or at least have really good characters. So it's just, man, story and personal issues will always outdo titles and all those other things.
So, Bruce, let's talk a little bit about DLo Brown. He was with the company from 97 to 03, and he's going to get signed again here in 2008. And it's written here, it's most likely this is part of Vince McMahon wanting more African Americans helping write television. Part of it is there's been a decrease in that demo and the ratings, and the part with Booker and Lashley leaving and any racism controversy suffering from having folks on the creative team makes them a sitting duck for future controversy if they don't push African Americans. The way this is written, it just comes off so negatively here, Bruce. But how about we like DLo Brown because he's good? Is that possible?
Yeah. How about he's good, he's competent, and he's a hell of a performer and a hell of a nice guy. So that's the reason. I can't, again, you see all that, and that's somebody who is just looking for anything negative, any kind of negative spin that they can put on something to give it a negative spin. That's all it is. It's DLo Brown's a hell of a talent.
Yeah, ta-da. He's good.
Yeah.
WWE settlement to Corey Macklin. I guess he had a lawsuit against the WWE for pulling Jerry Lawler from a Memphis show, and he pulled a lot of talent at the last minute, or WWE did. And I guess the terms of this settlement are sealed, and neither side is allowed to talk about it. But the rumor and innuendo is that the settlement was fairly significant. It's written here, WWE evidently realized they would look bad in a court case where you had a small local business owner in court in Memphis against an out-of-town Goliath who basically, by pulling all the talent from the Sam's Town show at the last minute, cost Macklin his sole show deal, not to mention the pulling of Lawler from the match with Hulk Hogan after they'd spent months building it up, which WWE was fully aware of. It was all done because Vince was mad at Hogan at the time, which is ironic since Hogan just appeared on the 15th anniversary show later. There's nothing new this week on Macklin reopening his promotion on a new station or using that money he received in the settlement. What do you remember, if anything, about this Corey Macklin WWE dust-up?
Nobody asked. No, they say that the company knew. The company didn't know. The company didn't know until they had already advertised thing, and they went directly to talent instead of coming through the company, and that was the issue. It was as simple as that. So, them being able to use stuff, and it was more out of Jerry Lawler and the fact that Lawler, was like, hey, this guy did this, and all this stuff. And a lot of it was probably, due to Jerry, them going to talent directly instead of going through the company to see if they could do things. So that, to me, that was the issue, and that's all the issue was.
It's written here, Joe Henning was moved from Harley Race's school, where he was originally trained, to Florida Championship Wrestling. Henning is the son of Kurt and was under a developmental contract, but allowed to train at Race's school because Race and Larry would have been friends for 45 years. He greatly resembles his father, at least when it comes to look. If he's half the wrestler his father was in his prime, he'll do well for himself. We know that Curtis Axel will go on to have quite a run with WWE. Why don't you think he achieved more in WWE? Is it just, man, you're following in the footsteps of some pretty big shoes, or is there more to it than that?
Yeah, I wasn't here for when I came in. He left shortly after, so I don't really know what the issues were with him beforehand. I know that he had a great deal of promise, and I actually thought that he was a hell of a performer in the ring and out of the ring. A lot of charisma. The problem always comes with, if you're the son or daughter of one of the greatest of all times, you're going to be compared to them. Whether you like it or not, whether that's fair or not, you are going to be compared to those who came before you, especially when you are coming from one of the greatest of all time. So it's tough on somebody to do that. And I thought that Joe always had an upside. I thought he was a hell of a talent. And I couldn't tell you, man, what happened with him here. But I do know at this time, in 2004, 2005, during that time, that, man, he was somebody that we were looking at because he did have the attributes. He was a natural athlete. He had a good look, and obviously he had the pedigree.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what adfreeshows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-free shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that adfreeshows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. adfreeshows.com.